Your client has now moved through 16 sessions with you, and in session 17 we're going to look at ways to celebrate your client's success. Now the goal is to keep your client motivated here by understanding their success stories as part of the journey overall. While staying focused on the positive, we have to understand that our client has probably made some changes that range anywhere from small to rather significant. In session 17, we're looking to build our client's confidence level by reviewing those changes that made lasting changes possible. Making lasting change will not be easy for every client. Review with your client all of those changes that have occurred in steps or phases. We can sometimes measure success in this way by doing some assessments. Remember to focus on changes that have already been completed and those that are successful. This is done so that the client comes to believe that their efforts are really worth the change and that the program is worth their time. In doing this, we create more value for our client. Use your training to focus on those positive things that have already been done up until this session. If nothing else, remind the client that they've decided to make some lifelong changes and that taking this course is a positive step in that direction. The ability for your client to both set and meet goals has been practiced now for 16 weeks. Some clients will have trouble staying on track. If there has been any history of failures while doing session work, your client may have trouble seeing positive aspects of changes throughout the past 16 weeks. In these cases, remind the client that failures are acceptable if they are corrected immediately. You might also consider that goals were inappropriately set for this type of scenario. But regardless, your client has tried to make a major behavior change, and their effort shows that they buy into the value that you are providing to them as their coach. This type of change effort requires both the structure of our program and your coaching skills. Through reflection, your client can see now how taking small steps has helped to change some lifestyle and weight management factors that they were not controlling before. And we want to celebrate those small steps or anything successful along the way. Even though some success stories might seem small, it's now time to show the client how they are relevant through reflection by comparing how they felt when they first started to how they feel currently. And once again, if there are any failures that are referred to in conversations with your client, try to troubleshoot how or why problems or failures block success. We have mentioned that when it comes to healthy eating, variety is essential, and providing your client with variety will not only ensure that the proper nutrients are consumed, but we also prevent our client from becoming bored. Part of this strategy might include having approved snacks and meals made in advance. This way, when the client finds themselves in situations of need, they can make a healthier choice because they've planned ahead. We also see that variety will prevent the staleness of healthy eating in terms of perception. When a client changes their eating patterns, there is a tendency to see or observe a plateau. When this occurs, it's necessary to reevaluate any of the food choices in order to prevent staleness within the client's eating plan. Occasionally, you may have a client that just really needs to see the fun of our program, and they will need to have fun as they move through each week to stay on point or even to stay motivated. If through conversations your client reveals that they feel that healthy cooking isn't something that they see themselves doing for fun, you might have to dig in deeper into the client support network for help. This thinking from the client is really one of their values, and we're not really going to change that about them. Therefore, you've got to be able to make suggestions to help make cooking more fun for the client. Some ideas will include maybe having healthy supper clubs or any activities that can include the client's social network. But staleness also factors in here too, and you may find it helpful to encourage your client to be more progressive and open about the types of foods that they consume. Make sure that your client understands the value of family dinners and having family dinner time together so that everyone in the family can share similar values with the client and also act as part of their support network. One of your main focal points for Session 17 is to make sure that you have highlighted all of the small success stories and recognized them from your client. This verbal recognition may have more weight now when you reflect upon the past 4 months of work and changes from your client. To reinforce the positive components of good client behavior, make an effort to acknowledge barriers and obstacles that the client has overcome. In order to make the most of the motivational theme of Session 17, reference all positive changes and elements seen in the client up until this point. This will require that you evaluate food and/or activity logs from your client.